The Krovar Imperium had conquered 47 star systems in 3 centuries. Their empire stretched across the Orion Arm like a cancerous growth, consuming worlds and species with methodical efficiency. When their scout ships first detected Sol 3, a blue marble teeming with primitive bipedal creatures, the Imperial Senate barely took notice. Another backwater planet, another species to be catalogued, evaluated, and enslaved. High Commander Zekthor reviewed the assessment with his 3 optical stalks, while his feeding tendrils absently processed nutrient paste. These humans possess no faster-than-light capability. No plasma shields, no quantum communications. He clicked his mandibles in what passed for Krovar laughter. They still use chemical propulsion. How quaint. The invasion fleet arrived on a Tuesday. 60 dreadnoughts materialized in Earth's orbit, their shadows darkening entire continents. The message broadcast simultaneously in every human language was simple. You are now property of the Krovar Imperium. Resistance will result in planetary sterilization. You have 1 solar rotation to surrender your world governments. Earth's response came in 23 hours. It wasn't a transmission. It was a kinetic kill vehicle traveling at 0.3 C, launched from what the Krovar had dismissed as a primitive space station. The ISS had been a decoy. Humanity's real orbital infrastructure existed in the radio shadow of the moon, built in secret over 6 decades by a species that had learned paranoia from watching their own skies. The tungsten rod struck the flagship's bridge at relativistic speed. The ship didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist, transformed into a rapidly expanding sphere of plasma that consumed 3 neighboring vessels. Defensive positions. Zekthor roared, but the humans weren't finished. From Earth's surface, from Mars's Olympus Mons facility, from the asteroid belt mining stations, from hidden installations in the Kuiper Belt, humanity's true arsenal awakened. These weren't the primitive weapons the Krovar expected. Humanity had prepared for first contact not with hope but with dread. Every science fiction story, every nightmare scenario, every dark possibility had been planned for. Missile swarms erupted from planetary silos, not with chemical warheads but with contained antimatter charges. Each missile was stupid by Krovar standards, but there were thousands of them, and they didn't need to be smart. They just needed to reach their targets. The Krovar shields, designed to deflect plasma and coherent energy, were useless against solid projectiles moving at fractional light speed. Ships began dying, not in glorious explosions but in cold mathematics. Kinetic energy versus structural integrity. Physics didn't care about empire or conquest. How is this possible? Zekthor demanded, watching his fleet dissolve on tactical displays. They have no technology. They barely left their cradle world. His tactical officer's voice trembled. Commander, they've been preparing. The data suggests decades, perhaps centuries of preparation for contact. From Earth's hidden military command center buried beneath the Cheyenne Mountain complex, General Sarah Chen watched the battle unfold across holographic displays. Her face was carved from granite, her eyes reflecting the cold fire of a species that had survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and nuclear standoffs. Target their support vessels, she ordered. Cripple their supply lines. I want them stranded in our system. General intercepted communications suggest they're attempting to retreat, her aide reported. Negative. Chen's voice could have frozen hydrogen. They came to our home. They threatened our children. No retreat, no survivors, no warning sent back to their empire. The Krovar had made a fatal miscalculation. They assumed primitiveness meant weakness. They didn't understand that humanity's lack of FTL wasn't ignorance, it was focus. While other species reached for the stars, humanity had perfected the art of killing. 2 world wars, countless smaller conflicts. A Cold War that pushed weapon development to terrifying heights. Humans didn't build faster ships. They built better weapons. The Earth Defense Fleet, a term that hadn't existed in official documents until that Tuesday, emerged from stealth positions throughout the solar system. Warships built in hollowed asteroids, carrier vessels disguised as commercial freighters, AI-controlled drone swarms that had been orbiting Saturn's rings for 30 years waiting. The Krovar fought back, of course. Their plasma cannons carved glowing scars across Earth's atmosphere. Their orbital bombardment platforms launched barrages at major cities. Tokyo, New York, Mumbai, Cairo, each took hits. Millions died in seconds, and humanity's response was biblical in its fury. The AI command network, Prometheus, built by the combined military-industrial complex of 6 major powers, calculated optimal strike patterns in microseconds. Every Krovar vessel was tagged, tracked, and eliminated with surgical precision. When their shields adapted, humans switched tactics. When their armor hardened, humans found weak points. Where Krovar tactics remained rigid and formal, humanity's approach was chaos incarnate. Within 48 hours, the Krovar invasion fleet was debris, but General Chen wasn't satisfied with defense. "Prepare the pursuit packages," she ordered. "We're following them home." "General, we don't have FTL capability," her aide protested. Chen smiled without humor. "We captured 3 of their ships intact. We'll have FTL within a month. Their navigation computers will tell us exactly where they came from." She leaned forward, her face illuminated by the blue glow of tactical displays. "And then we're going to teach the galaxy a lesson about threatening Earth." The aide swallowed hard. "What lesson, ma'am?" "That humanity isn't prey. We're not slaves. We're not subjects." Chen's eyes held the weight of every human who'd ever fought for freedom, every resistance fighter, every soldier who'd stood against tyranny. "We're the species that builds weapons out of rocks and pointed sticks. We split the atom before we could reliably fly. We turned peaceful satellites into weapons platforms. We've been preparing for hostile first contact since we first looked up at the stars and wondered what else was out there." She stood, addressing not just her aide but the recording devices she knew were transmitting her words to every remaining government on Earth. The Krovar wanted slaves. Instead, they've awakened something that should have remained sleeping. They wanted to add Earth to their empire. Her smile was predatory. "We're going to add their empire to Earth's ashes." 6 months later, the first human warships retrofitted, with captured Krovar FTL drives and improved with terrifying human ingenuity, jumped into the Krovar home system. The empire that had stood for 3 centuries fell in 6 weeks, and across the galaxy, species that had never heard of Earth learned a new phrase in their own languages: "Don't wake the humans."